sit back or you want to?
Hey guys, sorry we're running just a minute or two late. Wanted to get this set here. Gonna see if you guys can hear me. Is there anybody on? I'm having to do this from my phone tonight. We're hoping that maybe we can get our special guests on here. Last week I was trying to have a guest on there, and apparently I had to have a phone to be able to do that, and I was trying to do it from my laptop. So let's see if I can see questions. I'm not seeing any. Okay, so if you guys can hear me, if somebody will make a comment on there. Because like I said, I'm working from a smaller screen, so. Hey Shane, all right. So we'll go ahead and get started because we are a minute or two late. Thanks for tuning in to the second Behind the Screams for episode 2 of season 2 of Ghost Biker Explorations. This was a really cool episode that we really enjoyed doing, and we're going to have some special guests on here in about 10-15 minutes. A lot of you folks in the paranormal community know them. Doyle Goss and Donald Martin. They actually run the location where we investigated in this episode. So if you haven't watched, then we hope there's going to be a few spoilers. So if you haven't watched, we hope you catch up. But had a great time last weekend, hoping we can get some good participation like this weekend. So anyways, we filmed this episode back in January of last year, and I'm located here in Tennessee, and so it was about a 7-hour ride down for me. Hey Damon, hey Sheila, welcome Chris. We drove down. It was in January, and it was very cold, which for us, we tend to get a lot more activity whenever it is cold. And so let's see here. I'm gonna try to bring Doyle and Donald on here in a few minutes, and I think they've got to come on to the live, and I'm not seeing them on here yet. But whoops. Okay. So we traveled down to Kosciuszko, Mississippi. That was my first time going there. I've actually passed through, but I'd never stopped. And Doyle and Donald, they were wonderful hosts. And I know the funeral home has been open for a little while now, but at the time, we had the honor of being the actual first outside investigators other than Donald and Doyle. And so things have changed since we were there. I've been watching some different investigators' videos and stuff that they've been putting out there, and I know that Donald and Doyle have done a lot of work to that location. And hey Donald, I'm going to bring you on here in just a minute, and they're going to talk a little bit about the funeral home, but I know they've done a lot of work, have added a lot of really cool features, some caskets, as well as some pews and that sort of thing. So I'm going to go ahead and see if I can get these guys on here. And like I said, I'm going to be manning the comments and questions, and so we want to talk a little bit about some of the evidence and everything that we got, and a little bit about the town. So let me see if I can bring Donald on. There we go. I can hear him, but I can't see him. Hey. Is Doyle there with you?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, then I won't have to bring him on. So if he can get in the screen, I've got him. Actually, let's see if we can do a. Now, apparently, I can only bring one person on at a time.
You want to do one more?
Right. So it looks like you guys are at the funeral home.
Yeah, we're at the funeral home right now. We figured we'd do it right here. Kind of
Awesome.
show you a little bit what we've done. You got to be in the. I done froze up. I
It
froze
looks
up.
like Yeah, it looks like you're froze up. But it's a good picture of you. I see you're sporting the Ghost Biker gear.
Yeah, actually, it's the first time I've had it on. I didn't want to mess it up. Oh, wait a minute. There we go.
Saving it for that special occasion.
That's right. Doyle's worn his a couple times. There we go. There we are.
Hey, there you are. Hey, Deborah. Hey, Shane. I know Shane says he's got the same shirt. And so I know you guys can probably see the questions as well, but since I also air this at a later time on, oh, so you can't see them?
No.
Okay. So, so since this airs at a later time on YouTube and you can't see the questions on YouTube, I'll just read them. And then that way, people will know what's happening when we show this on YouTube. So, so welcome. Can you, I noticed you guys were hosting a watch party.
Yeah, we did a watch party. We figured we'd set up a watch party with the episode right before, you went live with this and tried to share it around and get some people interested in actually coming on and talking about it.
Nice. Yeah, we had a lot of people. I was looking at the analytics, and there was a lot of folks from your area that had watched the episode. So appreciate you guys sharing it, and we want to do what we can to help get the word out as well. Because when it was really cool because when we were there, we had some activity. A couple things that stood out. That we noticed had happened, but it felt, other than those things, it felt fairly quiet. So when I was going back at evidence review, I was really pleasantly surprised at the stuff when we were sleeping because we had no idea, other than the picture falling, all the stuff that was happening even when we were sleeping.
It was wonderful. That was one of the best ones I have seen. Yeah, when y'all were sleeping in there, I mean, some of the things that y'all caught that we've heard but never caught before, the conversation that went
Yeah.
on in there. We have all heard that, the female voice. We have
Mhm.
heard that, and y'all caught it just perfect on there. I mean, it sounded, that had to be the same thing we've been hearing.
Yeah,
Awesome. Oh, go
it's
ahead.
kind of ironic with a lot of stuff because when y'all came down and filmed, nobody else had been here other than us. And with other groups that's come since you've been here, we're getting a lot of the same stuff that you picked up that was filmed, months
Good.
before. So it kind of gives validation to what we've been hearing and what the other groups have been witnessing. Now, we were sitting around last night watching an episode there at the house, me and my wife, and when I don't want to kind of give away some. I guess everybody's done seen it.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, we'll tell them they're spoilers. So.
The elevator, that was just wild. When we heard the elevator going down, me and her just looked at it just like, oh my God, I can't believe you caught that. Because up until about 2 months ago, we didn't even know how to turn the elevator on.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And
I know you didn't. I know
talked
you
to
didn't
the
use it or have it on when we were there. So.
Yeah, I
What
talked to
was
the
that?
former employee that was there. Me and her came back in. She was the first one that gave me a tour of the place before we did anything. And then we came back in, and she mentioned something to me. She said, that elevator's loud, isn't it? I said, well, I've got no idea. She says, well, it's been moved, and none of us did it. So apparently it had been, we had never caught it before. We'd never heard it move. And everybody else said that they didn't touch it, But I mean,
Yeah.
you caught exactly what happened,
Yeah, with the elevator, the way
Awesome.
it operates now, we found out because there was some stuff we had to actually move from the bottom floor here to try to get it, stored out of the way. But we had, had to call and find out how to actually operate it. And if you're downstairs, of course, the doors have to be shut completely, and you have to operate the up part downstairs, and then once you get upstairs, you have to operate the down part. So I mean, you can't,
Oh,
operate it at one spot.
gotcha. Do you know if it's belt or chain driven? Have you seen the mechanics of it?
It is.
It is under
Let's
investigation.
go look at it. How about that?
I mean, not that it necessarily matters, but I was just curious because I mean, you could really, to me, it sounded like you could really hear the gears working.
We can get this thing to.
Right here.
This is, we're actually underneath it right now.
If you see it,
Be careful, that thing could fall.
Well, it's greasy.
yeah, it's just a cable system.
Yeah, it's cable.
Okay.
Cable system there. Goes all the way up top there.
Hopefully y'all won't witness our demise.
Yeah, they'll send it down. And let me give you give this to Doyle, and I'll get the grease off my hands that I just touched that cable from.
Hey, Jennifer, thanks for tuning in. If you guys want to kind of give us a tour, that way, people saw from our episode, and I mean, there wasn't very much. I think whenever we came, of course, we came in January, and I think you guys had maybe had it in operation, was kind of getting started with it, maybe a couple months or something. Coming in.
Yeah, I think our first one was in October 13th, I think was our first one here. Kind of
Okay.
ironic.
Where we're going.
Okay. Then through here is the hallway that you have in your picture.
Mm-hmm.
The promo. As you know, there's the 2 viewing rooms, left and the right. And you're also going to see some of the ladies quilting things in here. We just didn't cover it up.
I think that's the one that Josh and I slept in, wasn't it? The one on the right?
Yeah.
No, y'all had the couch, right? One that had
Yes.
The couch is in here.
Oh, with
We
couches
moved
in
the
here?
couch over there. They slept in this one.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I was thinking that was the one we slept in. Yeah.
This was the most active room. There's been a shadow figure. Need to get a plug out to them. Fox Family Paranormal out of Georgia was one that caught the first video evidence. The shadow
Yeah, I
figure.
saw that.
And yeah, it's incredible.
Do you think that was related to the room, or was that because it came out from the casket area, correct?
The shadow you're talking about?
Yes.
It went across. Well, it looked like us. It went across the top.
Okay.
There was a motion sensor inside the casket with a little plush toy, a little child's toy, and the motion sensor went off, and then the shadow went across. So
Okay.
we have heard a lot of voices from this front area too, and that's where it seemed like y'all had picked up, all the sound. This has been the most active, this one, I believe.
Yeah, and that was what was crazy because we could hear, I mean, we didn't obviously when we were sleeping, and I don't know if it was because it was so cold that night or if it was because we had driven down and it was so late, but I know when we laid down to sleep in there, I was out about as soon as I hit the bed, and I think the room was right around 54, 52 that day, and so yeah, there was walking around, and then I was really amazed by those full sentence conversations that was going on. And really, they all seemed intelligent.
Yeah, and that's the first time I heard it. We were in the well, feedback for days, wasn't it?
Quilting in the coffin room, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, we were in the chapel that night getting ready for a group to come in that was going to do a private investigation. And we had just got through and we were sitting in the back of the chapel, and Donald was sitting in the chair facing me, and I heard a female voice. It was about 11 o'clock at night, and the first thing I did was run to the window, because there shouldn't have been anybody out on the streets at 11 o'clock at night in the neighborhood, and especially talking loud. Thing about it, he didn't hear it. But after that, we picked up a conversation like you did from this area as well. And
I've heard her. We had a group in here. I don't know. It's been a couple months back. A group from Jackson, some good friends of ours, Brad Cooney, Eileen, Jones, Sabrina. I'm trying to to think who else was with us that night. Anyway, we were in here, and they were getting ready to shut it down for the night. It was about, I guess, about 12 maybe. I don't know exact time. It seems like we hear a lot between 11 and 1, but
Okay.
right in this area here, they were kind of farther up there, and they were kind of going to finish up in this room, and I heard a voice, and I looked for a second, and I heard it again. Well, the second time that I heard it, I say mostly everybody else heard it.
I did not hear it.
So we went looking for where it might have possibly come from. It sounded like to me it was coming from the office area, and then we went in there and tried to get it to speak again, and then we was getting ready to go into the chapel, and we heard it again back towards the office. I believe is where we heard it the second time. Or I did, me and someone else did at that time.
The bad part, though, we thought, well, we've got it, we got recorders running.
Mm-hmm.
We put recorders on top of the casket, and it's a cloth casket, and we were standing around it, and everybody had their hands on the casket, rubbing it and everything else. So it drowned out anything else that was in the room. We wasn't thinking about it, just sitting there, just drum your fingers, whatever, And unfortunately, we didn't catch it.
I've heard the voice in here at least 3 different times. We have moved some stuff around since you were here. When we were doing the watch party earlier, we were talking about how cold it was, and if it's froze up, you have to hit that.
I've done that. I got
that button again to reverse it, and then you reverse it back. We were talking about it being 55 degrees up there in the casket room. It's like I'm thinking. I said, Doyle, why didn't we just turn the heat on that day? And then turn it off, later when y'all got here to keep the background noise.
We keep freezing up in there for some reason.
I think it's just the book app itself, because it does that quite a bit.
Now we're in the chapel area, and this is the area. Somebody's done took the picture out.
Yeah, the picture's moved.
Yeah.
That's the wall right there where the ball's at. It's been sitting. The picture's been sitting there ever since you set it back
Yeah,
up.
the ball.
Yeah,
the ball was there because I know it kind of moved briefly when the picture fell.
That's probably it over there. They probably moved it.
It's a swan, isn't it?
Yep.
I don't remember.
I mean, and you can see just how big the perspective there, up against Donald, just how big the picture is, because, I'm 6 foot, and I think you're about almost as tall as me, Donald.
5'9".
Yeah, so so that's a big picture, and it was solid. We tried to show just how solid. I mean, it didn't even bend the nail or pull anything down. Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell it.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
But the nail didn't move. It's not bent down. So.
And it was crazy because, the acoustics are actually pretty good from what I remember in there. And, we were so sound asleep. We had left a recorder up in the casket room. We had a recorder sitting on a table. I think I had filmed the sleeping part with my GoPro. So we also had the audio from the GoPro. But, and I had the recorder sitting there with the speaker facing the window. And I know when that fell, I was so out of it. I was in such a deep sleep, I didn't even know how to ask Josh the question of what had happened. I was thinking of an echo, because because when it hit the baseboard and then hit the floor. Jennifer asked the question. She says, "Are they still in business? I haven't got to watch this week's episode." Jennifer, no, they are not in business. And when did it close, guys?
August 2017.
16.
Okay.
Was it 16?
17.
Okay.
17.
Yeah. So it's been closed for a little while now.
Yeah,
And
from what we can gather, we haven't really talked to them a whole lot on what happened when they left. But you could see up in the embalming room, it seems like they got out whatever they needed at the time to continue business over at the other location, which is across town. and just left everything else here. I mean, we still find stuff in storage and all, you know.
Oh, I do want to add about the picture. When Miranda called, you could hear the excitement in her voice. What is this? What is
Yeah,
this?
because
Where could
what
it have
it
come
was
from?
crazy because we laid there for a few minutes. We wanted to film our reaction, and we grabbed the recorder before we went and looked anywhere. And so we were listening to it. We hear it fall, and or hear the sound, the double bang, and then so we get up to go look. And of course, when we come around the corner, we see the picture on the floor. And what was actually really crazy as well about that is, we had brought down static cameras, and I think we had 4 at the time, and none of them worked. We only had just we went old school and just had our, Josh following me around, but you guys had cameras sitting up. And when we looked over and saw that and then called you and heard that you had the cameras running, yeah, I was so excited. Can you hear me? I think you guys have lost sound. Let's see. I think they're having some difficulties there. While they're getting that taken care of, I'm gonna say hey to a couple people. We've got Sherry, and we've got let's see, Maddie, Jennifer. Again, welcome, guys. You guys got sound? I want to make sure, can you guys still hear me? Okay, yeah, let's see if we can bring them back on. Hey, Richie. Can't forget you. Let's see here. Second. I mean, you guys, okay, let's see. I'm going to try to pull them back on. Says he's adding. Hey, Shirley. Okay, it says they're adding. Guys, hang with me for a minute. It says it's adding them back on. So maybe we've got the sound and everything. Everything set up here. Sometimes in these locations and stuff, the sound or the service is not that great. Still adding. Let's see here. Yeah, so to reply to Shane's comment, I know Shane's talking about sleeping in the funeral home. And I had somebody ask me this yesterday, actually, asking how I find peace sleeping in some of these locations. I've slept in some pretty crazy ones, and last week was very uncomfortable when it came to, okay, it says their connection failed. I don't know if you guys can still hear me. You're probably in a poor service area, and pop back on and we'll try to add you back. But for some reason, when I was there in the funeral home, it really, for me, just kind of had a sense of peace. I never really got anything overwhelmingly negative that made me feel like, I was in any danger sleeping there. Let's see. Are you guys still with me? Donald and Doyle? Okay, I'm gonna try to add Doyle. It says it's adding here, so I just caught a glimpse before you guys lost service. I just caught a glimpse of the actual chapel, and that was where we decided we were going to host a mock funeral. So.
Yeah. See everything?
That's kind of odd. I Yeah, I'm not you.
I'm not sure.
You guys can hear me.
But
I'm hearing myself. You guys I can't hear you.
Get out there.
Okay, now I can hear you a little bit. Maybe it's it's a little better. But I'm still hearing. Okay, what may be happening is it may be double playing through Donald's phone.
Okay.
I can try to go off and then we'll read it through. Can you guys hear me okay now? I'm not getting the feedback. Maybe it is some kind of spirit interference. If we can, I'm gonna try adding Doyle or Donald again.
Okay.
Now I'm
still hearing myself. Right. What's the thing? Disconnect and just try Donald again.
It's going to slow down. Technology, like, they got it. Look.
And that is odd.
It sounds like it's
kind of getting feedback.
You're cut out. He's trying to bring it back. Oh, one thing, I don't know where we're at now. The original problem.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
what could be causing.
This was supposed to comment or anything, like
Because I'm still hearing myself feedback. Okay. Yeah, I'm hearing back.
Can you play it?
Why don't you hop off and I'm going to try to do it? Okay. looks like it's coming from there. No, Shane, we can't start over. It says it's adding Donald, so. Monica says echoes, feedback, and sounds like the elevator is going full force up and down. Technology. Yeah, what's odd about that is everything was fine until they got over toward the inside of the chapel. And I don't know what you guys were hearing, but on my end, I was hearing this just roaring sound, and then I was hearing my voice come back. So it says it's trying to add Donald now. I know we had a lot of luck with his. So we'll give it a few minutes and see. I'm hoping they can come back. Melinda, yeah, we're having some terrible feedback. It very well may be something not wanting us to communicate. So it's trying to connect here with Donald, but it just says connecting. And I don't know if it's some kind of service issue or what, but if we can't get those guys back on, we will try to do that again at some other time. But I'm hoping they can come back on and continue with the tour. Because, you know, it's a very cool place. And if you've got the opportunity to check it out, I would definitely recommend that. Ah, there's Donald. How do you sound? Doyle, whoops, he's gone. Yeah, Doyle says we got that sound last time with Emoti VP. Yeah, we'll have to go back and actually watch the video and see kind of what's going on, see what you guys are seeing. But while we're getting Doyle back on here, or Doyle and Donald back on here, I'll take a few minutes, say hello to a few more people. Melinda, Shay, let's see here, Sherry. So what we tried to do with this investigation, it says it's adding Donald now. What we tried to do was, you know, we had a 7-hour drive. We went down on a Friday evening, and we did, you know, most of town was closed by the time we got there, but we got a little tour of Kosciuszko and got a tour of the funeral home from Donald and Doyle. And we actually started upstairs. I'm getting no answer from Doyle, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I'm sure it's spirit interference or just bad cell service. Anyway, so we did a tour, and we went up. We started on the second floor, which at the time I know they had a lot of activity. Okay, you're clear now, but the volume keeps rising and falling. Really sure what is going on with this, but we'll stay on for just a little bit. Anyway, so we started in the casket room and had a pretty decent. Okay, there they are. Can you guys hear me? Okay. I think it's frozen. Hey, Margaret. Okay, I can see you guys. Looks like you're outside, but I still can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now.
Okay. The audio is messed up a little bit between when you're actually talking and when we get it through.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of a delay.
Yeah.
Hey, Richie.
Yeah, we're actually
Okay.
outside.
Yeah, go ahead.
Actually, I'm outside trying to make sure we get a decent connection here before I walk back in. It seems like at chapel, for some reason, is keeping a lot of stuff working right. Let's go back inside.
Maybe that spirit interference.
Hey, Doyle. Might be. You know, you said something when before everything went haywire. You were talking about the Bluetooth cameras you had that wouldn't work that night.
Yeah. Yeah, none of my cameras, none of the four. I had four that I actually, yeah, they were Bluetooth and also run off of external batteries, and not a single one of them worked. So we were glad that you guys had some static cameras set up to be able to help us. We were just thrilled to be able to catch that picture falling.
Yeah, of course, we got the DVR still sitting in the same location right now in Doyle.
But when Donald was out there and trying to get it to work, I was sitting in here in the music room, and now it's going to freeze. But I was sitting in the music room, and as soon as he came on and it started working, this light came on at the exact same time. So I mean, it seems really weird. It's like, ding, okay, now y'all can work again.
Yeah, it seems like something don't want to.
It knows we're talking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just totally wild. I saw the light come on, and all of a sudden, there's Donald. Now we can hear him. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. As you can.
Well, did you all notice, this was kind of weird, and I had one person point it out. We didn't even notice it till after. Did you guys notice the face in the mirror when we were doing the black light?
No.
If you go back and watch when we were doing the black light session up in the embalming room,
Right.
I think there's a mirror in one of those areas. And I know I was talking, and Josh has a beard, and there's a face that appears in the mirror. We actually didn't even notice that until we had gotten the episode put together. So we didn't even call it out.
Did you say Josh has a beard?
Yeah.
Now? He didn't.
Yeah, a little beard. Kind of scruff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not a long beard, no. No, but this was a smooth face, and it just kind of flashes. Go back and look where we were doing in the embalming room with the black light.
Right.
And it's a odd face because I'm talking and it's not moving. And then he has a beard, and this face in there doesn't have a beard. So it's kind of interesting. But we had one person point it out.
Well, let me tell you, the trouble we was having a while ago, we had Rick Wade on here to do a remote EVP session. It was a 2.5-hour EVP session through this whole place. And he could tell them, let's hear from you. Static would come over it. We couldn't hear it here. Static would come over it, and voices would be heard in the static. When we went back and played it, he could hear it, everybody else could hear it, we couldn't hear a thing. But they could hear all that static like y'all were talking about here.
On the live feed, as a matter of fact, it was in the break room. You could hear it on the live feed, but you couldn't hear it, just like this.
Wow. Yeah, because I know what I was hearing when I would talk, I heard this weird, it almost sounded like I was coming through an SB7 is what it was kind of sounding like just then.
That's the way it was that day.
I actually have a couple questions here. Sherry says, what are the spirits that haunt there? Do they have names or any interesting history? I know something that we caught, and I know you guys have caught some pretty cool things. I know we caught the name Everett twice, which was, I thought was pretty cool. We caught it when we were doing the mock funeral. And then, which also a piece that we caught that, I don't know if we just didn't have the video for it, but I know when we were asking questions, the REM pod was really lighting up. And I think he's a military vet because started asking and the colors were lighting up. And I was running through all the different branches of service after it said something about it being a military vet and the lights had come on and it lit up green. So I was thinking maybe he was an Army vet.
Yeah,
but
Okay.
But we got the name Everett, which was really cool. And I know if you want to tell us about some of the names of people you've got.
Yeah, well, the first time we did an investigation here, we got the name Trudy. It sounded like an elderly man that said the name Trudy. And so after, we was really excited, after we got that the first night here. We came back the second night, me and Donald went up to the casket room, and Donald even asked, who is Judy? And then we got another voice that came back and said, your mama. So Trudy seems like it triggers a good bit of response sometimes.
No,
And that's a
Edwin,
different
no
name
Edwin.
too. That's not your everyday common name.
No.
And
And
really neither is Everett.
we tried to look back at, they didn't have records that just had first names. It was all by last name, slash first name. So there was no way to tell if there's any treaties here or anything like that.
Yeah,
But
could have been Gertrude, short for Gertrude.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
we tried to kind of show you the way we got the chapel set up and everything. Now we've added a lot of pews and flowers and caskets and everything.
we're going to try this more time.
Yeah, let's try it one more time, see if, because I think it's impressive the work that you guys have done down there. I know you froze up again, but
Hey,
yeah, it's impressive the work you guys have done inside of the funeral home. I mean, it looks like, when we were there, there was nothing. And, I was trying to think of some unique and different ideas of things to do before I came down. Wow, that is amazing. I love the look of that.
Have you seen
Um,
a casket that big before?
yeah.
I have never seen one that big. That's like a double.
That's 4 foot wide.
Wow.
Bought off eBay. You get anything on eBay. Last 2 caskets we bought came from eBay. So
Hey, get you a double wide casket there. That's
yeah,
wow.
we got some of the sprays and everything. And
You better go back in there.
what was that?
You better go back.
Did y'all hear that?
I heard something. I'm not sure.
That
I've
was
also got
that was a
some.
voice that came through.
It was,
That wasn't
That
our
was
voice.
weird.
yeah, it was weird.
Yeah, y'all. Oh, yeah. I got to go back and hear that. That was a voice.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and listen. I'm looking at a few of the comments here, and Damon says the embalming room is really spooky. All those personal belongings of the deceased people still in the drawers, like watches and jewelry, are holding the spirit energy. Also creepy with the drain where the body fluids were disposed.
Well, guess where we're headed?
Yeah, the embalming room was really cool. And, I know we were getting some strange smells in there. And then we also had, it was just really crazy to see, the cologne and different pieces, the glasses and everything. Sherry says, did anything ever happen there that startled you, or you were like, holy cow, what just happened? For me, the picture startled me. And then there were a couple times, I know we didn't get a lot of REM pod activity except for in the chapel. But we had, we saw something where you guys had seen the shadow figure. We saw something with the REM pod went off.
Yeah.
Let's see. So it looks like they're in the embalming room. Is there a mirror in there?
Yes.
Okay, so that would have been the mirror that we passed through.
Cut the light off.
What's kind of crazy about that is it's actually not it looks like it's not very clear. So I don't know that a reflection if when the flashlight, the black light passed by it probably would have shown so just go back and check that. It's a clear face.
Now, depending on your angle and all that, we've had groups kind of sensitive. The closet that's right behind us, which you can actually see through the mirror, they've noticed or sensed a man standing in that closet that's right there, and you can actually see the reflection. If you hold it just right, you can actually see the closet through the mirror.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you of my experience that I had here that really spooked me? The long room, which is, behind here, basically I think was the storage room. That's where a lot of had the strangest feelings at. Well, we I had just been. I guess I'm covering up here. I had just been up here earlier, and of course, I just told the spirits. I said, "Okay, we've got some guests coming tonight." I said, "Y'all be sure to cut up for them." And I had brought two guests into the embalming room. I walked out of the embalming room and started in that hall and stopped because they were still in here. I was waiting for them to catch up. And I had my flashlight like right here, and I heard a slam, and I just raised it straight up. And there was nothing there. And they said something to me, so I turned back around, and then when I turned back toward where the sound was, there was another guest standing down there. So I said, "Oh, that was you." She said, "No, I heard it too, and I was in the casket room and came over." So I walked down there, and there was a floor lamp. I don't know if you remember seeing those. There's some floor lamps. They were behind the door there, and it was slammed down in the floor. And there was no way that she could have came in the room, reached behind the door, thrown that down, and got out before I raised the flashlight that much, you know.
Yeah, and that seems to be the case there, especially like with that happening, and then also with like the picture falling and such.
Yeah.
And I mean, even the elevator. I mean, it's got to be some pretty strong activity to be able to actually physically move these objects.
I think about that every time I pass that area, I'm telling you. And I think that actually there was one thing that, didn't you see what looked to be a figure standing in that doorway when y'all was in the casket room? Or I think it's
We
one.
did.
Was that y'all? Okay.
We did, yeah. And it was kind of hard to tell because you know how it is with the lighting and stuff, and we use a red light whenever we're filming. And yeah, it to me it looked like a figure standing there. But I don't think we had it caught it on camera, but we actually saw that at that point, and it looked like a fairly tall figure.
And I think we've heard someone else say that they saw it looked like somebody in a white dress with like um, either partially materialized or whatever, that it had either black spots or just partly materialized. That's I don't know if, what you could make out at all, but could you make out any dress or just a silhouette? Or
Mm-mm. No, it was just something blocking, and it was very fast.
uh,
I think I was actually, I'm trying to remember when we saw it. I think I was actually not really even paying, I was doing something else, not even really paying attention. And yeah,
that's when it happens. Yeah, always.
yeah,
It's like hide and go seek sometime, I believe.
exactly. You know, what really made me curious is, the help me that we got.
That was
It,
impressive.
it was very clear. Have you all received anything like that?
I haven't. I've got this feeling about, for some reason, that there's a little girl here.
Hmm.
I noticed on the during the chapel session that y'all were doing, or I guess it was probably before the help me. You can hear
Hmm.
sounds like a little girl saying hi.
Yeah, yeah. Um, that was one of the things we thought we had caught a little girl. That whole funeral session was actually pretty interesting. Like I said, we were trying to think of something kind of different and unique to do, and obviously being in a funeral home, try to have a mock funeral, and it's kind of I felt really emotional when I was doing that. Almost overwhelming, of just a sadness,
The growls
obviously.
y'all caught too. I noticed that y'all caught
Yeah,
so many growls. That's been reported many times in the chapel. And actually, one
really.
group at 5 o'clock in the morning, they hit the door when they heard it. And that was enough
Oh,
for them.
really?
Yeah. So that was caught before, but y'all caught it two or three times. I think one or two times upstairs up here, it wasn't.
We did. We did. When we first started doing the flashlight session upstairs, it was one of those things in the very beginning, in the casket room when we were doing the flashlight session. It was a little slow to get started. It seemed like, probably maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes getting started. And it really kind of seemed like the interactions we were getting in the very beginning was kind of standoffish.
After
And of
midnight,
course,
we have found usually you get a little bit before 10 and then it backs off and then waits till after midnight, 1 o'clock, something like that. And someone else had said that they used to work here, and he said, after 12, 1 o'clock at night, it really got crazy there. And he had never heard any of us say that. So,
what's interesting is because we got down there so late, I think it was because you guys are in Central Time and we came after work. So I think it was about 7:30, 8 o'clock before we actually got down there. And then, of course, we had, stuff we had to do. And I think that it was probably, I mean, we started fairly late. It was after midnight when we actually started, maybe even 1 when we started.
yeah.
And and like I said, that was what was interesting is we were hearing and seeing some things immediately, but we were really, really thrilled with and surprised almost of some of the stuff, especially when we were sleeping.
Well, we have had it the first time we were up here. We were kind of disappointed because we didn't think we were getting anything. No REM pod hits, no K2 hits, nothing. And we went downstairs. We had the cameras on it up there, and we looked back at it, and all the K2s were going off, all the REM pods. Waited till we left the room, and so we said, "Hey, we turned and started coming up the stairs, and it quit when we got halfway upstairs." I mean, just like
That's the same night we got Trudy
yeah.
on the EVP.
Okay.
So it's like they wanted to look at it, but they waited till we got out of there, and then when
Yeah.
experimented with everything, it's like, oh shit, here they come again. So
Exactly. And, and that's one of the cool things I think about investigating these new locations. Um, a lot of the places that I like to hit and highlight are either places that aren't over investigated and or are new. And so it always seems like the activity, I can't imagine, in a location like that, it's got to be really validating to, you go in and you get a few things or get quite a bit, when you first go in there, and then when someone comes in and they either get some of the same stuff or start getting, that's such a validating feeling. So, have you noticed the activity change or ramp up since you've had more folks come in?
I think that what we've noticed, different people, different groups have different styles and can get different things. Some can, Fox family, I mean, they put 8 more cameras in there besides ours, and they caught that within, the first hour. They walked outside to smoke a cigarette before they started, and bam, they caught that.
They were here
The whole weekend.
They were here, I guess maybe a month or so after you were
Oh,
here, and
Okay.
they got the place for 48 hours, and they had, it was a big group of them. They come in and set up bedrooms and all for the 2 days they were here.
Comforters, everything on the bed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Moved right in.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, they had some things too that happened with them. The I don't know, I guess one of the founders of the group, his uncle passed away while he was here. And
Oh,
we went spirit box by the portal, and they asked, could they, I know I screwed that up. They asked, would you like to talk to anyone in here? And it came back, his name over and over, Michael Fox. So it was an emotional time for them, especially for something that relevant to come through,
yeah.
But yeah,
Wow.
different groups have different ways of investigating, and it seems like they respond better to some, and just
We've had a couple sensitives that's come through, and on several different groups that's come through, and they've said something about a man being here, and there's a man that follows us around. Said there was a man that follows us around the whole time when we did the tour.
damn.
Urinal works.
In fact, I saw two guys haul ass just then.
Wow.
I'm sitting right next to the
Urinal, and he turned.
urinal thing, and it hit the fence.
It worked, yeah.
I was worried about getting wet, but it was wet. But yeah, we've had several people, different people in different groups tell us about, they sense a man here, and when they start asking me about it, it's like, have you ever sense a man here? It's like, well, tell me what you feel, what you see. So, well, there's an older man here, and he follows us around when we're doing the tours a lot of times. And one lady says that he even tried to follow him outside. Said, no, you got to stay inside. You can't come with us. And I said, what was he wearing? And they'll always tell me, the same clothing or same type of clothing. I said, we've gotten that same thing from several different people. And
Okay.
one said that he likes to hang out in this closet over here in the embalming room. So I'm wondering, when you were talking about the mirror in the face and all that, and I'm wondering if maybe the mirror was catching him over there in that closet over there.
And also in that same area, we had motion sensors set up that kept going off when no one was up here. We was monitoring it. So I came up and I turned it totally toward the wall, and it still was going off. I mean, facing the wall is like, 2 or 3 inches from the wall, and it was still going off when no one was up here. And it was in that corner. But one thing that Donald didn't tell you, that there was another person that said they knew one of the people that worked here.
Mm-hmm.
And you showed me the pictures of them?
Yeah. I have to get my thoughts right on this. There was a lady that said that her grandfather, I think it was a grandfather, maybe great-grandfather, worked here at this location for like 22, 23 years. And I've got his name. I just can't remember off the top of my head his name. But actually, he had retired from this place a couple times, and they basically had to run him off because he kept coming to work even when he was retired. The funny thing about it is the two houses that are right next door were owned by the previous owners where he had worked for. He lived in the house that was right next door.
Okay.
So they've actually owned not the last owners, not the current owners, but the last owners. I want to throw the name out there.
Yeah.
Own the two houses that are connected. So they actually owned those two houses and the funeral home, and the houses were used for the workers for the funeral home. And he had lived over there. I've got pictures of him, his family, and all that. So we're going to kind of, and I think when the last session we did that public thing, the Word Walk Ghost Hunt, we actually threw his name out a few times, trying to get some response on that. It's very possible that the man may be him.
The thing about it too, we've caught some very racist remarks on some of the portal, spirit box. I think we froze again. But on portal and spirit box, and she had told Donald that was just the way this person was.
Gotcha.
He was very honorary, he said.
Yeah, he was. I mean, that's
I
way,
asked her, about it. It's like, well, what was his demeanor? Was he, it's like, he was a pill. He was honorary. I said, well,
Okay.
She threw out the he would say certain things, and it's like, we've gotten some racial responses through the portal and stuff off of that. So it kind of makes me wonder, if it definitely possibly is him, walking around in here.
Yeah, they had to run him off twice, but he decided just to come on back.
She told me they had to evict the victim out of the house to get him to quit coming to work. They took some family come and got him. I think they were in a assisted living home in Memphis. I think they wound up passing away up there.
But the thing about it is, it's the picture of him.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what I pictured this guy to look like that had been described to us that some of the sensitives and psychics have seen. So.
Okay. Yeah, because, and one thing I noticed too when we were there is other than just like your typical morning traffic, which it was an early Saturday morning, but it was a quiet neighborhood. I mean, you didn't get really any noise pollution I mean, maybe we were just there at a quiet time, but you really didn't get any noise pollution. Yeah, see there, the dentures.
And this, did y'all ever get much back in this area? This was where I had my experience.
Um, we didn't really spend a whole lot of time in that area. I know we passed through there. I had like just an odd feeling when I was walking through that area. Just not really heavy, just
Well,
just
hold
different.
on, hold on. Did you just have a car pass?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought that was somebody like.
But right
No,
there,
there
where
was
Donald
one.
is, this is what happened. That was behind the door, and I mean it's like when those weevils wobble, but they don't fall down. You got like a 5-pound weight on the bottom of them,
Okay.
And it was slammed down in the floor. And
Wow.
when I was standing right at this area right here, with my light facing about like that, and when it happened, I just raised the light like that. There was no way I'm sorry, about like that, just raised it. There was no way that no one could reach behind that door and throw that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, that unnerved me just a little bit. You don't see that every day. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's got to be pretty powerful, moving things, knocking pictures over or down and lights over. Yeah, there's the casket room. Um,
And that was
that,
just
that
like
was,
seeing the
oh,
someone,
go ahead.
right?
Yeah, that's where the.
This was the casket that was downstairs when they caught
Okay.
the shadow. But we went ahead and brought it up here since it's a baby's casket, and
Hmm.
it's a little sensitive to some people.
Yeah, I had some people, because we had that in our promo, and I had some people asking me if that was a child's casket, and I know that they were like, that's just creepy, just different.
The only reason we have it here is because we asked the owner, did he have any extra caskets that we could put in here instead of having to buy the ones like we did, and he had two. He had that one and the youth one that was stored. So of course
Yeah.
that's the only reason we put it in there before we had anything. You go to an abandoned funeral home, you want to see a casket.
Yeah. Yeah.
And sit down here a little bit.
I know we had, I know the very next day, you came over after the picture had fallen. I know that Doyle had come over, and we actually spent some time playing with the dowsing rods down in the chapel, and then up here in the casket room. And I know, what we're trying to do is because we've got a time limit with our videos. We're actually releasing some different things a little bit later on. So we actually got a couple things when we were up in the casket room with you that day. I mean, we didn't spend very long in there, but I know we got a couple things that we'll release at a later date, that when we were kind of playing with the rods, I know we got a couple voices when we were sitting up there, and that was probably around maybe 10 or so. I got a couple questions. Shane asked if I'm going to head back and go to the jail, which we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. But yes, Shane, I actually, when I came down, was wanting to spend the whole weekend, but was only able to spend the Friday night. But I intend to come back, and I'd like to do the funeral home again and check out the jail.
The jail is pretty awesome too. It's had very few people in it, and we called our first experience within 10 minutes of walking in the door. So it was triple validation from what we had. We have one of our members on up there, madam, Kyle. He's 6'7", big boy, and he used to be a police officer in Meridian, Mississippi. So in my head, I had it, I'm going to use him as a trigger object. I wasn't going to say nothing. So when we walked in, he had a K2 in his hand, and he was doing a sweep with nothing. There's no power in there. And I said, okay, Kyle's the new boss man in here, I said, he's the big MFer right here. I said, anybody want to challenge him? And as soon as I said that, I've never gotten dizzy before on an investigation. I got so dizzy, I kind of leaned against the wall. Kyle saw when I fell back, he turned around, and K2 went wide open when he pointed it right at me. And then you hear Donald say, what was that? And it was a laugh that came from the back there. So it was, I challenged it for Kyle, and then I get this dizzy feeling, and then, K2 and a laugh all in one, just bam, bam, bam.
When we first heard the laugh, I thought my wife was there too. She's on our team, and we thought she had laughed about it, but she said, no, it wasn't me laughing.
Well, I definitely want to check that out. If, these, just to, I want you guys to give some information how people can, find out more and contact you guys. I may not have said it there in the beginning. Donald and Doyle are with Southern Paranormal, and they've got a great team, but they're the hosts at these 2 different locations. And so I'm going to let you guys give your information, and then also talk, briefly, because we're about out of time here. So.
Yeah, we have 2 websites. One is called atalajail.com.
3.
Well, 3, our group's website, yeah. But atalajail.com. Atala is ATTALA, jail, JAIL.com. It's got all the information, the pricing and everything. You can come, you can do just like Miranda did, and have your own investigation here. You may pick up more than she did, which it's gonna be hard, but then we also have the Old Southern Funeral Home here, which is osfh.net for Old Southern Funeral Home.net, and both of them, if you go to one of them, there's links to the other one on it, and these locations are only quarter mile to a half mile apart from each other, very close. So you can not only do just one night, one the next night, or we're offering what's called a double down. If so be, you can start at the jail and then till half the night, and then move from the jail down here to the funeral home, do the investigation rest of the night, and sleep here, save hotel room. Maybe you'll catch that elevator going up and down,
Yeah, I know one couch that's down there. I think Josh was laying on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Josh was on the couch, and I had a cot.
Yeah, but I mean, now we've got, 16, 17 pews in there.
Plenty of room.
Yeah.
Can't sleep in the casket because it'll fall off of that pedestal we got it on.
But anyone that comes down, we'll even bring out a patrol car for you so you can throw the blue lights on and do some mock arrests. We've got straitjackets that actually were part of the jail and used in the jail, waist chains, handcuffs.
Orange jumpsuits hanging up. We actually got in storage, there was a bunch of jumpsuits. We took them to the cleaners and washed them real good in very hot water. And they're all hanging up in the booking room. Actually, the sheriff's office, or the booking area of the jail. You actually have 2 buildings that's right there together. You have the actual jail, and then you have the sheriff's office, which is connected by a breezeway. There is some power in the office area where we've got DVR set up in there. We've already got cameras installed in the very bad humidity heat. We were in there putting cameras up, but we got the jail already set up, with cameras. We've got
perfect time of year now that it's cooling off for the jail.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know when we were there in January, I think you all were having a cold snap because it was like 28. It was freezing that night.
Like I said before, I don't know why we didn't turn the heat on, because the place has power, heat, air conditioning. It's got 2 bathrooms that you can use. A break room with refrigerator and coffee maker and all that stuff.
You just wanted me to be uncomfortable, get the full experience.
Yeah. I guess so. You know, I don't like the cold, so I don't understand why we didn't just turn it on. Maybe just didn't think about it, you know. Because now, you know,
Yeah.
during the summertime, we get a few groups in here. He's like, well, let's go cut the air on, you know, start getting it a little cool. Now, the upstairs where we're at right now, you can leave the air conditioner on for 24, 48 hours. It's not going to cool up here.
Yeah.
It's hot up here during the summertime.
Yeah.
Downstairs, you know, we kind of isolate a little bit to where you can cool the break room and where we have the DVR set up and kind of shut those doors where it stays very cool down there. You do get a little bit of air in the where y'all were sleeping and all,
Hmm.
but not, you know.
But would love to have anyone watching come down, experience this for yourself. You've seen what this place can do. I mean, this is no joke. It's, it's the real deal.
Yeah, I've still got.
Well, I would definitely recommend it, and I'll make sure when I get a few things updated here at the end of the week, I'll get that information, the links and everything put on there for that because it's definitely a cool location, and just you know the activity that you get is just kind of limitless because you know there were so many stories and so many you know people who pass through those doors, so. You know, you just never know what you might get. So, but I really appreciate you guys coming on
Thank you,
and giving
Bob.
us a tour and talking a little bit about it. And we'll definitely try to set something up and get back down there for another investigation.
That'll
Like
be
I said,
awesome.
you'll have a patrol car there waiting on you for a mock-up.
Yeah, inside the jail, we've got
Hey,
also the booking area that we've got the jumpsuits and all that. We also have a place where you can take pictures where it's got the lineup type. Now, the lineup ain't, we didn't realize it until we got it hung up and started taking some pictures with it that it's not accurate. You know, it's like 6'5", I think. But, you know, we even got the little plaque and everything that goes with it. So people can take, you
well,
know.
if you can get me get me a blue light escort on my motorcycle, that would be
That'd be
all right.
cool.
We'll do that.
I'll see about getting that done for you. I think we could do it.
All right, I'll let you know. I think that'd be great video footage.
That'd be
Oh,
good.
it wouldn't be no problem. Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna take care of a few questions here, and then I'm gonna sign off.
Thank
But
you, Bob.
we've got
Yeah, thank you very much for having
few.
us on.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate you guys sticking with us and taking us on a tour.
And don't forget about the bully.
Um, what was that?
So don't forget about the bully busters. Got to throw that out there too.
That's right. That's right. If any of you guys, I don't know if any of you all are members of the Paranormal Bully Busters, but it's a great organization. You know, it's something that is not just a problem in the paranormal community, but a problem in many communities today. Everything from children to even workplace bullying. And Paranormal Bully Busters is really cool because we're it's what the southeastern region or just the southern
Yeah, I
region.
think it's
And
southeast or southeastern.
Southeastern, yeah, it's divided up into different sections, and I would encourage everyone to go and check out those pages. It's the initiative to stomp out bullying, which is a really big problem. We'll make sure we get that link up as well on this video. There's been several people who have mentioned the Ghost Biker shirts. I actually just got. I have I have all sizes now. I'm actually getting. Well, I take that back. There were two sizes I don't have, but I have a shipment of those that are actually supposed to be coming in on Friday, and so or tomorrow actually. So if anyone is interested in a Ghost Biker shirt, I've got those for sale on my website, www.ghostbikerexplorations.com. Got several different varieties, and yeah, it's kickstands up on the back, got the logo on the front and the logo on the sleeve. I designed those. So let's see. The Kosciuszko episode was awesome. Thank you for visiting. Look forward to you coming back. And that's Darren Miller. I appreciate that.
He's
I
with the Chamber
really,
of Commerce.
okay. I would actually really like to go and spend more time in Kosciuszko during the day. We had to get in and get out pretty quick. Um, so But anyways, yeah, just a few pieces of Ghost Biker business, and then I'm gonna hop off here. We've got a big event this Saturday in Oneida, Tennessee. It is the Zombie Fest, and it's gonna be a day full of everything from, I mean, there's gonna be a ton of zombies there. We encourage everyone to dress up, but there's going to be a motorcycle show, which is where my booth and trailer is going to be located, is up in the bike section. And there's going to be a 5K. There's live music. There are celebrities from Walking Dead. I can't even remember all them. Some magicians. They're having laser tag. A haunted house. So there's a whole lot going on. It runs from noon until 8 p.m. The haunted house opens at 8, and the proceeds go to benefit suicide prevention and awareness. And it's a young guy from my hometown who took his life, and the fund is in his name. So, but that's coming up this Saturday. I'm going to be there all day long with the bike and have all kinds of Ghost Biker merch, and we'll be giving a lot of stuff away. So I hope that people will stop by, and getting ready for next week's episode. And I think we got 3 more left. So I got some big things coming up.
I appreciate it.
Thanks again, yes. You're wonderful.
Thank you so much, guys. And we'll get something set up. And thank you, Darren. I will get in touch with you about that. I'd love to have a full tour. So again, thanks everybody. Go on, like, share the episode, and have a great week. And we will see you live next week talking about next week's episode. So take care.
Bye-bye.